Hello, welcome to Messy Imperfect Life with Leigh. Please hit subscribe now if you haven't yet. And once you do, hit the alarm to get notifications for new episodes. Welcome. I'm Leigh Keckner, and I'm so excited today to have an amazing, I'm going to say a patriot, an actor, a sex symbol, and as I believe, maybe an eligible bachelor, ladies. I would like to welcome Josh Kelly. Yeah. Hi, Josh. How in the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You look good.
Yeah, I shaved my head last night, kind of. I
I
made.
just saw that. Yeah. So what was the motivation behind that head shave?
I hate. I've been really working on keeping the top long, and I think people don't really care what your hair looks like as long as you've done something with it. So
You have a lot of it.
yeah, I guess I'm just relishing the fact that I still have some on top.
I love the word relishing. Awesome. And I think you look a tiny bit with your head shaved on the sides like that, like Kelsey. I'm Travis Kelsey from the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you know who that is?
It sounds like a sports person.
He is a wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's my team. So the two big guys are Mahomes, the quarterback, and he always goes to Kelsey for the score. And he's a huge stud and like an icon in Kansas City. And I think that you kind of look like him now. So maybe
Okay.
next Halloween you could dress like him.
All right.
Something to noodle with?
I could. I mean, yeah. I'll think about it.
Okay. I'm just throwing it out there for you, kind of like a sweet lob. But it's yours to do what you want. Yes.
Got it.
Yes. And your sweater, just I want to explore you for a moment. Your sweater. Tell me what's happening with, I see Jesus and Santy.
They're drinking
And what is
eggnog.
this?
Tis the season.
I love it. I love it. I love that you show up supporting the podcast and Jesus and Santa.
Well, it's Christmas. It's Christmas time, and it is it is a little chilly these days, these mornings, and
Yeah.
save some energy. Don't turn up the heat. Just throw on a sweater.
What does Christmas mean to you?
Uh, yeah, it mostly means I'm gonna have to hang out with my parents in the near.
I talked to you the other day and you mentioned that Thanksgiving was not a big thing for you.
No.
And that surprised me because in this great country, and we're going to talk a little bit about your relationship with this great country and how you've served, which is amazing. Thanksgiving is a big deal, right? We're taught that when we're raised, that's when we come together and we're thankful and we spend time together, even though it's hell for most people. But I'm surprised that wasn't a part of your, what was that about? That wasn't a part of your,
I think personally, I think it was because my dad was in the Navy, and so we moved around all the time as a child, and so we were never close. We were very rarely close to relatives, and it just was impractical. So it was never really a big holiday. It was kind of just a
did you guys get a turkey or it was just another day?
yeah. I mean, we would eat a turkey, but I grew up thinking my parents were great at cooking, and then I experienced good cooking. I don't think my parents were ever that good at cooking. We always had food, which is incredible.
A good thing.
That's
Right, right,
incredible.
right.
But I don't think they ever really trained or worked that hard at cooking.
Now,
They
when
would
you
be
were
upset to
young,
hear that, probably.
and when you were young, you were just eating it, right? But you didn't know any better.
Hmm.
If it was good or bad, it was just your parents' food. So kind
My
of we equate it
mom
with love
came from
or
the South, so it was a lot of butter, and
yes.
and I mean that's tasted. It was good. It was delicious, but
Yeah.
they didn't get too creative. They didn't have time. They both worked, so.
Yeah. So I had a similar experience where I was raised in a house where my mom was kind of absent and we just ate a lot of Twinkies and soda growing up. And I just thought that's kind of how life was. And then I went to the Carico's house and they were sitting for meals and the mother was up making like pancakes in the morning. I was like, what is going on? Is there some weird party? Like, what are you guys doing? And it was just there every day. But I didn't know that that's how some houses lived because I was used to just whatever ours was.
Yeah, ours was, yeah. I think probably a similar. We weren't allowed soda, but yeah, it was you kind of fend for yourself once you learned how to make your own food. And then on weekends,
Yes.
my dad would sometimes make French toast, and that was a treat.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
I love that. So it sounds like you had the kind of, well, I know I've heard about when people move a lot when they're young and they don't feel like they have roots anywhere, that it creates a whole thought process or way of living that nothing really sticks or matters. And if you make deep friendships, you're leaving anyway. Is that kind of how it was?
yeah, but I kind of think it made it one it made it so that I still I treasure the time that I have with family.
Yeah.
So it's not, and also I'm not afraid to leave. Like I wasn't afraid to move out. A lot of my friends that like get ingrained in that
Yes.
kind of like family culture, they're very afraid to move outside of a proximity, like a close proximity of their parents and their nieces and nephews. And for me, it's always been, well, I love you. I'm assuming you guys love me. I'll see you when I see you, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's so interesting because I'm from Kansas City
Mhm.
and so many people stay there. And here I'm in Valley Village right now, but Sherman Oaks Studio City. And when I go somewhere and somebody goes, "Yeah, I went to that high school. My kids are going there now." I'm like, "Wow!" For them, that's what it's like for a lot of people in Kansas City who stayed. Like I rarely meet people here who say that. It's like a
Mhm.
bunch of transients normally, or people who wanted to get away from where they were. But I had the same thing as soon as I graduated. Well, I went to college and then I went and traveled some, and then I was like, Miami or LA, because I knew I did my time in Kansas City.
Mhm.
But it's just like, I guess it's just what's inside of you, right? You kind of attribute it to the military lifestyle, but also you probably have this adventurer side in you where there's more out there.
Yeah, you might as well see it, chase it, or at least chase it as much as you can.
So talking about there's more out there, something that when I look you up and people, women especially, I encourage you to look up Josh Kelly, to Google him, the actor, because there's lots of great pictures of him, some without shirts, some with piercing blue eyes, some with kind of wild, messy hair, but all of them darling. And when I went to your Instagram and I started watching your stuff, you're funny as hell. You're so ridiculously funny
Well,
and
thank you.
good looking. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
take your
I
shirt
mean,
off if you want.
I was the class clown in eighth grade and in high school. Um,
But
so
what is interesting for me is, and you were on a soap opera, One Life to Live.
mhm.
And I watched that soap opera for so many years in Kansas City and some years and then stopped probably just before you got on it, which I'm bummed about. But
It was a good
you
time.
got on it right when it was about to end, right? Or a few
Mhm.
years?
43-year-old franchise. They hired me 6 months later.
Oh my gosh, it was on for 43 years?
Uh-huh. Until they hired me.
And then once you got on, you were thinking, oh, I can just ride this out.
I thought I would have 4 years. It's, I thought I had at least 4 years of getting my life together. It was
I
right
want
after
to,
my divorce. And
oh, wow, this is something I'm learning about. I didn't know you were married and divorced.
I was very briefly married and very quickly divorced. And
How long is briefly?
we got engaged on the second date, and then we were engaged for 5 months. We had a big wedding, and then we were married for 6 months, and then we divorced.
Okay, so what happened on the second date? Because I think this is interesting. What grabs our heart so much that you're like, second date? This
Well,
is it.
the problem is, my parents did the same thing, and they still make out. And so I thought that that's what it was. You're supposed to just
Oh,
get get starstruck, get windswept, and then all of a sudden that's who you're with forever, because that's is what my parents did.
So you followed their example, and then you were like, this girl, I'm crazy for her. This is it.
Yeah.
I'm like my parents married her. And then you were like, holy hell, this isn't going as planned. I already don't want to keep making out, and it's not even been 6 months yet.
We had other problems. We had a lot of problems, but probably not for this podcast. She's
now I'm really intrigued.
We were, and I know amicable is only used with divorces, but it was an amicable divorce. We
because you both kind of realized what the heck, we went too fast.
Yeah, I think so. We were both too young career-wise. She was trying to be a singer. I was trying to be an actor. I had never been on a series yet. I'd done a couple guest stars, but I didn't have anything to really like anything reliable. And I think it was too much pressure for her, for sure. And also,
did she become a singer?
For a little bit. I think she still does stuff, but she's remarried. She has kids and stuff now. So
now, how long ago did that end? That marriage? That little
12 years ago?
Have you been in deep relationships since then?
Yes.
I'm just asking because you're so darling.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had a couple close calls. I haven't. There are probably a few that I would have pulled the trigger on had I not been married before.
Yeah.
It's good or not. I don't know.
Is it? I know. I don't know either. Because if you're thinking of the past experience and bringing it to the current one, that's not good. But maybe if you learned a little bit not to go too fast, then that's good.
I think I learned a little bit. And I mean, obviously, I still have a lot to learn. But
we all do.
Yeah. At least I'm going to keep trying.
Absolutely. So you are single now. So if somebody watches this podcast and they're kind of feeling some good vibes, you are single currently.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. You're welcome, ladies.
No.
So I actually met you in a bar.
Yeah.
And I was going home from something that I had attended, I don't know. And I just swung in there for one cocktail and just to see who was there. And I walked up to the bar and there was this sweet guy sitting there. And I just said, hey, do you mind if I sit here for a second? And he's like, well, my buddy's here. And I said, well, I'll move when he comes. And I sat down and started talking to this guy. And he was a nice guy, not super cute, but just a nice guy. And then you walked out and he goes, my buddy's here. And I was like, damn. Because I instantly, there's something about you that is very sexy and everyday and kind of intense. But it's funny to have somebody who's kind of funny and intense. I don't know. I don't know. It's just something that.
Poor man's Chris Pratt. That's what a lot of people equate me to.
I like that. Poor man for now. So we don't want to really hold on to the word poor man because then the universe keeps us in that vein.
No.
You're not?
No.
You're welcoming in abundance at all times.
I like being poor.
Stop it.
Like
So,
I'm a boy here.
But I have to tell you, Santa had the best elves ever, and he was treated like a king, and everyone served him, those elves that worked for him. And Jesus, actually, although he walked the earth in sandals, had the nicest robes and the greatest meals, the people who invited him in, and the greatest wines. So he also was really taken care of in a beautiful way, supported, as opposed to having money. So I think a little bit of abundance is God. Because God is an abundant God. So I like to welcome that thought in now. Like, why the hell not? Right?
I dig it. I've never thought about
it.
I really like it.
Yeah, me too. I just did a whole big thing. I did like 3 courses on abundance because I was raised in, my dad was a doctor, paid for all of our colleges, all of our cars, all of our insurance. But he'd always say, we don't have any money. And I was like, you're doing pretty good, Dad, because We
Right.
got 6 kids and we're all going to college. And then in with my husband, he had the same thing. He was providing. I was staying home. We have 5 kids. And he's always like, we don't have any money. And that thought, I was like, that kept them in that thought because our thoughts become things. That's my whole.
Did you say
Yeah,
you
go
have
ahead.
5 kids?
Yeah. Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
I have
That's
5 kids.
that's a grip of kids.
It's definitely a posse, and it's been a pressure cooker of learning and patience and all this other crazy stuff. But it is interesting as hell. So I'm from 6 and had 5, and boy, it was a lot. I mean, I just say it was a lot. I mean, they're still my kids, but when they were young and I have a couple with struggles, and it was just like, what in the hell is happening all the time? But I feel kind of on the other side of it now because they can all like talk and wipe their own
Function.
butts and
Yeah, right.
yeah.
They can make a
And,
peanut
and
butter and jelly sandwich.
they can start having sodas and Twinkies now.
Right.
Yeah, they're good. So the whole military thing, because I jotted down this because I wanted to really get it. You had 3 tours in Afghanistan, 1 in Iraq, and you were an Army Ranger. And is that the same as like a Navy SEAL for the Navy, for the Army?
Essentially, it's the same type of person. Statistically, it's a little more difficult than becoming a Navy SEAL, but that's just numbers. No big deal. I
MBT.
always like that. I rib on Navy.
I always like that.
Yeah, it's a same person. Just if you join the Navy or the Army, yeah, a little bit. I think now it's pretty much the same job. Back when I was in the Navy, it was more about water related things.
Right.
But after 9/11, things changed because the desert became the thing.
The water.
Yeah, the new water.
They just dropped into the sand instead of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So
joke about airplanes and stuff.
that's so damn cool.
It was cool. It was really good for me. I did it so I could do action movies.
I read that. So you literally were going, I want to be an action movie hero, which I still see happening for you.
Someday.
And yeah, 100%. And that you were like, maybe I should just go do it to see if I can really do it. So when I do play it, I actually have the experience. Is that so? Is that true, what you were thinking?
That is true, yeah.
And then
Also,
what was the
but
point you actually enlisted?
I joined before the war, so it's not like I knew I was going to go to war. I mean, I was willing to, but I didn't think I was going to. And I grew up in a military family, so it's not like it was like out of the realm of reality. It was my dad was
Right.
Navy, both of my grandfathers were Army. It just kind of made sense. And like you said, with my parents they weren't afraid of money, and I never felt like we had less, but I could see once I was in high school, I saw the stress that my sister's college put on them, and I was like, I don't want to have to. I don't want that.
Yeah,
Also,
put
I
that
didn't
stress
want to
on
owe
them.
anything, so I don't,
Yeah.
I don't owe them anything. I joined the military, which was good for me.
Yeah.
Also, I was I'm still a little immature. I was very immature back then.
Immature, I kind of like immature. I don't know. I feel like I still act like my kids are telling me to please stop it and be normal. Like I have fun everywhere I go and I just do whatever the hell I want. And it's just a huge party planet. But I think mature wise, I'm mature because I could take care of kids and stuff like that, keep them on track and on schedule and guide and parent them. But I kind of like the immature. I just think it's more hilarious. Like life is so silly and funny.
Well,
And I think,
life's gonna be over eventually, and it's gonna be over quicker than any of us want it to be. It's to me, actually being in the military allowed me to really appreciate the value of, I wouldn't say immaturity, but like a childlike approach.
that's the right
to
word.
things.
I am childlike. Like I have a childlike curiosity about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything cracks me up. And when people just take for face value and do what they're told, I'm like, why? Why are you going to stand over there? Just walk over there with me. You know what? It's just like, what is happening? But it makes for a fun life, exploring everything with a childlike curiosity, even heavy stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm done with the heaviness of it. Why did it come? What can I learn from it? How can I use it to be of service? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all just for our learning, and it's all for our, I think everything that happens is for just our tapestry of who we are and who we're becoming. And it's all necessary, the heavy and the fun.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I was good. I was a team leader. I was a 19-year-old team leader in the Army as a Ranger, and everyone in my team was young, was older than me, and
Wow.
I was good, but I really learned the value of taking things lightly, because you have to when you're going through serious scenarios. You can't dwell on how terrible everything is, because everything's gonna be terrible. So
I know, but
laugh at it and do a good job.
that's right. Laugh at it and do your best. Right. That's right. And so I think that's what's happening now is people are so caught up in the story of how bad things are and wringing their hands and this and that. And now this, oh my gosh, it's coming. And I'm like, things are so damn good.
Things are great.
Things are so good.
I tend to
And
hear the worst from people that have never been through bad things. People that have been through really, really bad things appreciate that this isn't that bad.
no, it is not. And are you, when you say really, really bad things, are you referring to the military and seeing combat?
Well,
Because that's something most of us don't.
That was an easy one. That's an easy one for me to talk about, because I just have so many military friends, obviously. But I mean, even if you talk to any immigrant that, like, if I like to talk to Uber drivers and taxi drivers,
Yes.
them what they think about
Yeah.
America, they tend to be like, no one knows how good they have it here.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that went to liberal arts college, and they think that things are terrible and scary, and go to war, go to Africa for a little while, spend a little time in a third world country, and then come back and say that America is terrible. That's a challenge.
Yes,
And
100%.
granted, we can
And
do better. We have to do better. We have to keep trying to do better.
well, it's like what can my individual life do to make America a better place? I mean, seriously, like as opposed to bitching and complaining about the homeless, I pray for them or I volunteer. Like any energy I have or I hear people have that's negative, I'm like, you have a lot of energy on that. It's not doing a damn thing except exasperating. I can't say that word.
Exacerbating.
Exacerbate. Thank you. The problem, and it's heaviness on your heart. So there's two really negative things happening every time you speak that way.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you could turn that around and go, how could I be of service to that? Not only are you going to feel better and light up, because we are here to serve each other and to have each other, I got you kind of thing. Like you're going to be a solution and a warrior and helping, and your body's going to get an immune boost and you're going to connect with people. So it's just this mindset of lack and things are bad and all of this kind of bullshit that isn't real. What's real is the world is beautiful. We're safe and we're breathing. We got another day on this planet. How in the hell are we going to use it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole fear of the virus really prevented people from thinking that they can even go out and help people, and I think that crippled a lot of society.
Yeah, fear is hell on earth. Like I believe hell on earth, we experience hell in heaven while we're here. And I think that love is heaven. And it's where you connect with people and life is freaking beautiful. And you see a world that needs your light and your love. Fear is the opposite. It holds you in place. It keeps you playing small and it keeps you from being what you're really here to do. So I kind of liked, I don't know. I like, no matter what's showing up, to always come from love and knowing that I'm safe and okay. So with COVID, I followed the rules, washed my hands, wore my mask. I also traveled and had fun and saw people, but I did everything that was asked of me for safety, but I still fully lived. I wasn't
Yeah.
in fear at all.
And you're still alive.
And I never got it, and I'm not going to. But the people who really focused on it, fear based, got it. So my husband called himself the COVID warrior. I'm the COVID warrior. And he had extra masks and everything. He got it 2 times because he focused on it so much. He watered that and it grew. And I was just like listening to him going on and on about it. I didn't talk about it. I prayed for the people who were dying. I washed my hands. I took care of my kids. But it wasn't my life. It was more like observing what the hell's happening. Wow, this is incredible that this is touching the whole world and jumping every pond or whatever. But it wasn't like, I don't know. I think whatever you focus on, especially fear-based, you get more of it, or you get it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of theories on that. Well, not a bunch. I don't really know.
72, as a matter of fact.
I don't. Yeah, I've 14.7
What,
theories.
that final one's not all the way thought through.
Well, because
So
it's
it's just a
kind of
point
like, what
seven.
is it, the Bader-Meinhof complex, where as soon as you learn a word, you start to notice people saying the word, and when you learn about something, you notice it in the world. Uh,
Mm.
I I I don't know if because yes, if you are aware of something, you attract. I don't know if I don't subscribe. I don't know if fate is real, but I think about it a lot. The military, because I mean, I'm sure I've talked about it before at other times, but I'm only alive because of a joke. One of my friends made
Share it, please. Yeah. Tell
we
us.
were this is in Iraq. We were at the Haditha Dam, and we were taking mortar fire all day, every day, and we were trying to figure out where the hell they were shooting from. And we went out. We went out to an OP, an observation point. It was 2 Humvees, my platoon leader, my gun team, and he used to be in my gun team. This guy, I think Green was his name, Mike Green, and he became the radio telephone operator, which is like essentially the smartest non-team leader becomes the RTO, so he can advise the platoon leader. And he had a college degree. He was very smart. Um, anyways, and they started what's called walking the mortars in, where the mortars are coming closer towards us, and mortars are little bombs that they shoot up at at a hyperbolic arc. And the mortars are coming closer, but they're still pretty far away. And Green's like, he makes a joke to the platoon leader. He's like, "Sir, do you think maybe we should leave?" And he's like, "Nah, they never hit you on the first one." And we all laugh about it. And we're like, "Yeah." And these are people. They were throwing bombs at us.
Yes.
uh, and then he's like, "But you know what? Screw it. All right, everyone, 120-degree azimuth, 200 meters, everyone move." And we move, and 2 minutes later, the exact spot that we were at just blows up.
Holy
And that's,
Toledo.
I mean, but that kind of stuff happens all the time while you're in war. Uh, so I don't know. I don't believe in fate and stuff, but I am only alive because of jokes several times.
And jokes could be fate.
But we're all only, we're the one sperm that made it. We're the one time that our parents were together, like we're all
And
only
I
alive
also
because
think,
of fate.
yeah, yeah, it does take a lot to get here. That's for sure.
Takes a ton.
Um, so with the whole war thing, how are you with it? Do you have flashbacks and do you sometimes remember horrific things or what's that?
I I mean, you can't. I got real lucky, I think, that I became an actor right after getting out of the military because I didn't think I was affected, but then I started taking like scene study classes, and I was like, I have feelings. um, I think a lot of other vets don't have the opportunity to access their emotions until they
Yeah.
retire, essentially, or they go through like another trauma, like a parent dying or a wife dying or a divorce.
Right.
My divorce, during that time, as brief as it was. I did have I stress triggers those things or triggered. It was a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
I've done some work on it. Uh,
Did you get
there's always
therapy and stuff to help you process it, to get it out?
some, probably not enough. I mean, any girl that's ever dated me will attest that I should probably go to more, but
But what?
more therapy. But at the same
But
time,
what?
about what? What do you mean?
No, but you said most of them would attest that you should go, but and I said, but what?
Oh,
Why
but I
wouldn't
haven't
you?
been with the right girl. So I think that part of it is that they would like me to fit in their paradigm of a
My
relationship.
question is why, if there's still residual stuff in you, why wouldn't you go work it out? Because you can get it out.
Um,
Because I know that that's huge traumatic stuff, and although you can kind of joke and act and let it out through scenes and whatnot, that's big ass trauma that most of us don't experience, and that
I've,
shit will
I
keep
have
coming
I've
up.
done I've gone to some therapy.
Yeah, but you still have residuals of stuff in you.
Now, I was saying, like, when I go through stressful times, I am like my subconscious kicks up and reminds me
Yeah.
more of it. But for the most part, I've been really good the past
All
decade.
right.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
and I think for me, I don't. I have so many friends that have it so much worse, and it's a lot more apparent with them. So I I mean, yeah, I can go to
Yeah. Would
therapy.
it feel
I don't
good though to
really.
be?
I'll go to therapy. I don't care. Like, I'll go to therapy.
Yeah. It's
I'm
not
more
that you're
afraid.
not, but
I'm
yeah.
more concerned about my friends than me
Mm,
right now. Um,
yeah. Yeah. My buddy just created an app. I don't know what base it was. I think it's in New York, a military base. It has the highest suicide rate of all the military bases.
ugh,
And
is
he
it like
just created an app
for
for the
good?
military base where they can text each other in real
Hmm.
time. If somebody says they're thinking about suicide or whatever, or talking about it, immediately text and people come in real time within 5 minutes to that person.
That's awesome.
It's really awesome. And I'm really interested in exploring this with that guy to bring it to all the military bases and
Hmm.
all the schools with high suicide rates, just because it's preventable. But what happens is our mind takes over and starts spinning stuff that's not real, meaning it's not happening in the present moment.
Hmm.
And it brings up the feelings from the past, and people want to kill themselves from a thought that's not real, meaning it's not happening right now. But
Hmm.
it's so overwhelming in their mind and it's taken over. But there's ways to get it out, to quiet the mind, to slow it down, to start pulling it out with compassion and gentleness. I want to be a part of that because I have a tender spot for people who serve. I don't want to brag, but my grandfather was in the Army before they had the Air Force, and he was based in, what was it, in Hawaii? Pearl Harbor. He was based in Pearl Harbor when it was bombed. And my dad actually was young, maybe 4, and sat on the roof watching it. And my granddad literally ran down in his pajamas, and his plane had been bombed, and he jumped in his buddies and took off. So that's a cool, and I have photos and stuff from that. He was a pilot for the Air Force. No, for the Army, right?
Hmm.
Back in the day. And my dad was a Navy doctor for a minute. So we have a little parallel with our dads. My dad didn't stay military. He ended up getting a practice and being a doctor. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I respect anyone who served it. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I only did it.
It's
I was
so
only in for
cool.
4 years. It was like instead of
Which is a
college.
long ass time.
It was a good 4
I
years. It
mean,
was 2000 to 2004, so it was like an interesting time.
and what was your story? You kind of I heard you once on something about your story of when you went in. Like was it 9/11?
I joined before 9/11, so I was in for a year, a little bit over a year
I know you just
before
told
9.
dates that did not go with 9/11, but I remember you saying a story about 9/11.
Yeah, well, we were the first unit to deploy after 9/11. We were on what's called Ranger Ready Force 1. So yeah, we were the first people over there a month after 9/11.
Wow.
So I mean, I wasn't. I can't imagine being a 4-year-old sitting on a roof and seeing Pearl Harbor happen. But I did see. I saw the second tower hit and on TV, not on
Yeah,
and
right, right, right.
and then we were over there. Yeah.
Were you like, holy Toledo, I'm going to war? I thought I was done with my 4 years.
Well, I had only been in for a year, uh, but yeah. Oh yeah, we were talking because this is about like messes, and it's why I don't have a savings account. I had set up like a whole savings account, and like my parents were gonna match my college fund. Uh, and I remember when after 9/11, while I was over in Afghanistan the first time, I was like, there is no way I'm dying with money in my bank account. And
You're like, I'm going to spend that.
I don't think that's a responsible way to deal with a messy situation, but at the same time, I've had a lot of I've had a lot of fun as opposed to saving money, and I've prevented myself from, I guess, losing money. And I
There is, I'm choking for something. Um,
don't get so
you got me all
emotional.
choked. You got
Lee,
me
Lee, it's
choked up.
okay. It's
I
okay.
can't. Every
It's
time
not
you
your
talk
fault.
about the story about money and surviving because you have money in the bank, it gets me every time.
Oh goodness.
Really, I'm just choking on scratchy throat. Um, but that's your humor again. That's your humor pulling you out like you're in a life and death situation over there right after 9/11, and you're thinking, I'm not going down now because I got money in the bank. There's money to spend.
Yeah, well, especially back then, because we didn't make a lot of money at all. I mean, we had a good and like your housing was taken care of. You didn't pay bills, which is huge because that's what most of the time, most of what our money goes to uh, nowadays. uh, but we uh, we didn't have much money, and if someone bought you a beer out at a bar, it was a huge deal. It was like if you bought a round of
Wow,
drinks,
thanks.
it was like
Yeah.
holy. It would change the whole night because it was like wow, someone bought us drinks, and that kind of became my mentality. I was like I don't want to. If I had $200, that's literally on a Thursday. That's 200 PBRs at the Loft Tavern.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, they're
Do,
dollar
do you still
PBR.
drink Pabst Blue Ribbon?
I
Is that still your
personally
beer of choice?
I don't. But I'm by no means hoity-toity. I drink Natty Light. I don't. I drink Bud Light, Natty Light. I'm not a
All
fancy beer.
right, all right. You're not into fancy beer. Um, what was another thing I wanted to ask you that just came and went?
Because so like this is carbonated water. To me,
Yeah.
Bud Light tastes like drinking carbonated water, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, I always drank Coors Light, Miller Light. Now I drink Michelob Ultra.
I
But
like all those.
my dad would always say that's piss water because he drank some lager beer.
Hmm.
Then I felt really demasculated. What?
Um, I took a test. I'm supposedly a super taster. So
Hmm.
the like IPAs and stuff taste way more. I can taste those more. So suppose this
They're
is at least
strong.
my excuse for drinking Bud Light still.
When did you find out you were a master taster?
Super taster.
Okay, let me
Um,
start over. Josh, could you tell me more about when you found out you were a super taster?
um, I took a test. It's kind of like a liquid.
Where
You can do it at
and
home.
why? Okay, so you
I
were
have
at
a
home.
lot, Lee. I have a lot of free time because I do not act that often.
So wait, you took it at home because you
uh
saw it on some sort of late night thing when you were up.
Probably.
And
Yeah.
you're like, I wonder if I'm a super taster. Let me just find
hmm
out.
Yep.
So then you licked it and you were a bright positive.
Well, you test the different areas of your tongue, but I think there's new science that proves that like your tongue doesn't actually have the. You remember when you were a kid, it says that it tastes like your tongue has the different areas of different types of taste buds that taste sour and sweet, and I don't know if you remember that. I remember that.
I just thought the dots on the back are my taste buds.
I think all over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're all over.
Show me
So
one
I
more
might
time.
not be a super taster. I might have just convinced myself I'm a super taster.
No, so what happened once you got that label? Once you were like, damn, yes, I'm a super taster. Now I'm going to tell people about food,
It made me
wine,
no,
maybe
it
even
just made
beer.
me feel more arrogant about drinking Bud Light and light beers, and because other people say they can't taste it, I can taste it. Taste it. It tastes like beer enough to me.
Because I'm a super taster. I
hmm
enjoy it too. I enjoy it too. I'm with you on that, on the light beer.
All right, good. It doesn't
Okay,
also it
so
doesn't sneak up on you. You can drink it. You don't get hammered.
yeah,
You
unless you drink 52.
which but even then, if you can drink 52 in an hour, then that's impressive, and you probably shouldn't drink at all. Or you have some sort of a deficiency of you're definitely dehydrated.
Right, definitely. I have two acting things. So
Okay.
there's this show, there's a friend of mine created a series called Chicago Blank. So there's Chicago Fire, Chicago
hmm
ER, Chicago.
Chicago Med, Chicago Fire.
Yeah, I
hmm
think you should be on one of his shows.
I've definitely auditioned for guest stars on Chicago.
I look at the actors and they look like you. I mean, they look in your same vein.
Well,
So after we're done, I'm going to email the creator. I'm going to send him a text message with your picture and say, this guy would fit one of your Chicago shows.
uh-huh.
Are you open to that?
Yeah, for sure. I actually I did a procedural called Bluff City Law a couple years ago, and I didn't watch a lot of procedurals growing up, so I never thought I'd want to be on one. But I never watched soaps either. I find a lot of joy in doing shows that you don't necessarily think you're gonna love. I loved doing a soap opera. It
So
was
the soap opera, you get your lines morning of, and then you just have to shoot.
no. That's a misnomer. A lot of people, it's you you get them about a week ahead of time, but you don't really have time to memorize because you're doing the volume is so high. You don't really have time to memorize anything until the night before. You can work on if you have like huge scenes, you can work on them a little bit beforehand. But that's part of the thing I loved about it. I was like, it's up to you if you're going to do a good job or a bad job, because they only do 2 takes tops. One Life to Live, we would shoot. I mean, I was only on for a year, but 256 episodes in 1 year, 256 1 hour episodes. That's insanity.
Wow.
The fact that it
Yeah,
was
that's
even
what I heard. I didn't
watchable.
hear like you got it the night before, but you are in what you're doing that you
Mhm.
just got that you didn't have a lot of time to prep for, and you're doing that, and then you get the next one, but you're still doing that one you have to do. So you just kind of, like you said, the night before
Yeah, and it
or
was
looking over it.
multicam, so we didn't even have mics. So it was like doing theater. They even use theater
Wow.
cameras. They don't use they use stage left, stage right, which is the opposite of camera left, camera right. Um, and you rehearse and you do it, and
You had
I
a
love
good
it.
name.
Huh?
I liked your name, Cutter.
Cutter Wentworth.
That was a cool name.
It was a great character. I loved it. I loved doing it. I it made my mom was so happy. Every
Oh my
like
gosh.
once a week she could be at the grocery store and pull out the tiny little magazine and be like, "This is my son. This is Josh in Georgia."
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was rewarding. It was very cool.
I love it. And then the other guy, I went to high school with a guy named Rob Riggle.
Yeah,
Do
Rob
you know
Riggle. I've
him?
met Rob.
Oh, you've met him and stuff?
Yeah, he was a Marine, right?
Yeah.
I met him at
And
a
now
veterans
he's
thing.
comedic. Yeah, something about you two partnering to come up with something together might be neat. I'm just
Um,
pitching ideas for you because I think that you're fantastic.
I like it. You should be my agent,
I should. So if something comes from this, yeah, I get a little cut.
of
But no,
course.
Rob Riggles, was class clown. He was my younger sister's age growing up,
Hmm.
and class clown, and then ended up going in the military, and funny as hell, and gregarious,
He
and
helped. He helped promote a. I did a short film directed by another ranger about soldier suicide, and I met him
mm,
the night before we launched it, and he like retweeted the link. Um, we
nice.
met at a veterans event. He seems like a lovely person,
I
and
just think it'd be
obviously very.
cool because you guys are funny and around the same age. I think he's a little older, and have similar pasts, and yeah, I don't think there's a whole ton of actors who have served in the military and are funny and doing stuff now. So I think it's kind of cute. I think it's kind of cool when people unite who have similar to see what they can do something greater together.
I agree. I really shied away from in the beginning of my career. I shied away from doing veteran things and military things because I didn't want to get typecast, and that was
But
that
then
was
you went on
probably
a soap opera, so you went the opposite way.
yeah. I wanted to at least establish a little bit of something. Also, what's really funny is I wanted to try and do something other than comedy because I just assumed I would do comedy, and I haven't done any comedy.
Yeah, I think it's time to bring out those comedic chops and the military stuff because there's nothing better than an action movie.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it now. I'm proud of the fact that I've always been proud of
Hell
the fact that I was
yes.
in the military, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
I like
afraid
that.
to do it.
Yeah, and it's funny because anytime we have a restriction, it blocks us from it, right? And so
Hmm.
even to hear you say I'm open to now being in that and being using what I learned and also with your acting as well, like you are naturally funny, but what you could bring to a scene for a military scene with what's still inside your heart and your mind, it'd be incredible. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
incredible. I'd
yeah.
watch that. So what do you have going on right now that people could like how can you tell us right now how they can follow you or what they should look for or what you have coming up?
Um,
I will have to say for sure you guys got to follow him on Instagram and look at his funny ass videos. But there's also some really meaningful ones. But I liked the one of you making fun of like people should follow actors for everything. Don't read up
oh,
on things. Don't
the
check facts
political.
yourself. Just listen to what your favorite actor says. Hilarious.
Yeah, well,
Hilarious.
I have had a lot of friends that get very political, and like it's kind of like what you said. If you're not going to actually
Do something.
be
Shut up.
involved in the change, then stop talking about it. But I guess then I guess they think that they. But we're not. ah.
Unless you're doing something, you're perpetuating it,
But
right?
also
You're putting out the same negative energy and feeding it.
do the
It's
research.
not helpful.
So many of my friends don't do any research, and they just recite something that they heard from someone that and whatever.
So I think
No.
that could be our call to action for people is if there's something that you don't like, you can be an agent for change. You not liking it adds to the problem. And especially if you talk about it, you're adding more of the negativity in the world and it's hurting your body because there's nothing positive about it. so you can do yourself good and whatever thing that you're shaking your finger at, go do
Something I
something.
something I started doing was if I don't feel comfortable with something, I and with Instagram, I'll follow someone that I like, but then I also try and follow someone who's the antithesis of what they stand for, so I can make sure
Mm.
that I am not just hearing sound bites from the one side.
One side.
Uh, because I have friends
I
that
love
really
that.
don't know what they're talking about because they only listen to people that agree with them. Um,
And I always say, you think differently than me? I want to talk to you. I want to hear from you. I want to hear all about what your thoughts are because I want to stay balanced and I want to be educated. Exactly the same thing.
yeah,
And if I'm running around with like minded people all the time, boring. You
yeah,
can't expand that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to hang out with all these guys on Chicago Med, and it was like they're just the same exact.
Wait a second.
I'm just kidding.
That's where you're going. I was like, wait, no, wait, don't say that. So,
I'm kidding.
yeah, I'm so glad that I got to talk to you
You
because
too.
I thought it was going to be mostly about how cute you were and all that kind of stuff, which, is still there.
My mom loves
But,
hearing it.
right, your son is cute. You did a good job, you two. But I also want to talk to you outside of this about partnering, maybe being the face or the voice of this app and bringing it to military bases to decrease the suicide rate.
The stigma. That's always been one of my big causes. And I actually did do an arc on. Well, I did an episode of Station 19, which is the Grey's Anatomy spinoff, and then they wrote me into Grey's Anatomy, and it was about soldier suicide and veterans suicide. And I am very, very comfortable with talking about it because it is important to me. I have had
So
friends
important.
kill themselves, and I have
And it's
also had
because
friends
their
not kill
mind,
themselves
yeah,
because
yeah,
they've felt more comfortable talking about it. Uh,
yeah.
I'm
And realizing too, I have just lots of tools, including meditation, and there's so many things to get the mind quiet enough to start
mhm,
moving more from the heart and not letting it run the show, but going, oh, there's that thought again. Here's the tools I can do to let it float by and not ride it or not believe
mhm.
it or not take it as if it's happening now, which can keep you kind of a clean slate up here to make clearer choices as opposed to it's getting bad and then it starts spinning and then it just, your egoic mind just jumps in it. Your man made spinning mind creates shit that's not really happening right now. Yeah. And it's so overwhelming that you kill yourself, right? That voice.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to explore that together, which I'm excited about because I know that this guy's app is making a difference on one base. And I would like
awesome.
to partner with you and with him and maybe some other really cool people to get it on all military bases because it's pretty easy and
Mhm.
it connects people in real time to get people help.
That's awesome. I'm, I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm very down. I'm very, very, very down to try and facilitate
I
that
love it.
any way I can.
Oh, I love it. I look forward to that. And so, everyone follow Josh on his Instagram account, which I believe is just at Josh Kelly.
Well, just joking, JK.
Oh,
Um,
say it again.
just joking, JK.
Okay, so just joking, JK. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I like that,
Well,
darling.
it's very funny. It's very funny when you're not a comedian. But then if you start doing stand-up comedy, people are like, "Oh, you're a comic." I'm like, "No, I'm funny as an actor,
I'm funny as a human being,
as a human
and I'm an
being." But
actor.
but I don't even. And yeah, it was whatever. It was. I wanted just Josh and JK, but it was taken.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do in this day and age, right?
Hmm.
To get as close to what you want. Okay, you are delightful. I'm so happy you came on. I'm honored
A
I got to
treasure.
speak
Thank
to
you.
you. Yeah, and I can't wait to make a difference with you. With
Let's
that.
try at least.
No, no, I don't try.
You do. You
It
Yoda.
happens. I'm yodeling this shit. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. You are a treasure.
Thank you for having me.
Wait, did you just say I was a treasure? Did I just
I
steal
said you
that?
were a treat and a treasure.
Oh my gosh. And then I just threw a treasure back at you. So I don't want to do that.
Well, fine. We're both treasures. It's fine.
You're just an good old fashioned fox.
I'll take it.
All right. So nice talking to you, and I'll talk with you soon.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Good to see you. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe. Click the button and subscribe to Leigh's Messy Imperfect Show.